I'm just gonna hold it in and do the whole show, bro.
You're gonna exhale after the show.
One take, all in one take.
Hey, always one take in the cave, baby. You know, we record this. One shot.
You ready?
I said, "Are you ready?"
Get your popcorn. Go take a piss. All right, let's get started.
Step inside the ring, feel the adrenaline rush. Cage of iron, will dreams turn to dust. Beneath the neon lights, we unleash the fury in this virtual cave. It's time to tell our story. The cloud roars with anticipation, bites the lines, and the ball is underground fight. We're rebels of the ring, breaking all the rules, bleeding our hearts out like what fools. Say Darby down, KVW, KVW. In the heart of the cave, we fight for love. KVW, KVW. Where legends rise and dreams burn bright above.
And we're back. Welcome to KVW. I'm here with Zach. What's up, Zach? Where you at, bro? There you are.
What up? In the casa.
Pulled John Cena on us, man. How you doing?
Good, dude. How are you?
Chilling, man. Just chilling. Missing Danny. Still hurt from that top rope Hurricane Rana. Training hard for his match against J2 Mattioli. Rubber match. We actually have footage of the lead up to that Hurricane Rana. Pull it up right now.
Let's check it out.
Guys. Oh, I think that's where it happened, actually. I think it happened before the right there. I think he might have tweaked it there. What do you think, man?
I think so too. I don't know if he's gonna be walking the same after that, dog.
J2, go for the legs, bro. Go for the legs.
100%.
Before we begin the show, make sure you guys check out our Patreon, where you could get access to our Discord community filled with crazy ass people like you and me. We talk wrestling over there, we talk other sports, and we talk all the crazy shit. We also got a gaming community. If you're watching this live, the Discord is free. If you check out the comments, we're going to post it over there. It's the best way to support us, and we have exclusive content. You can find that on our website, cave.com. That's K4V3.com. The last episode was an AEW show. Actually, the 2 episodes prior were AEW shows. So this will be our first WWE show where we can showcase our WWE roster, man. I'm excited.
Super stoked for it.
Hell yeah. So tonight we got Gunther versus Kenny Omega, which is an absolute banger on paper. 2 different styles of wrestling. Can they work together? I guess we'll see. I don't think we'll ever get this in real life, man.
I don't either, but we deserve it as wrestling fans.
Hell yeah. We also have a banger of a tag team match. We have Darby Allin and Seth Rollins versus CM Punk and Will Ospreay. What the fuck? That almost sounds like a fucking fever dream, bro. Right?
That is exactly what we talked about when we started KVW, was the dream matches that we all wanted to see. That's definitely up there, dude. That's one of them.
Yes, but at the same time, we also spoke about some of these matchups being better on paper than they could be if they were actually booked. I mean, this sounds like a bunch of talent in the ring, so we'll see what happens. In the main event, we got another fantasy matchup. Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. The Return of the Dead Man. Which one? I'm just kidding. Rest in peace.
Dang.
On top of that, we're going to intertwine our wrestling talk. We got some Dynasty recap. We got some Raw recap. Talk a little about NXT. And we had a little heated debate in our group chat about brand tribalism. So we'll dissect that a bit while we put on the match. Here we go. First match of the night. Kenny Omega versus Gunther. Let's go. So, do you like the fact that Sami Zayn took the belt from Gunther?
I do. Because it continues that theme for him of being like this streak killer. Him and KO killing that tag team streak at Mania last year. Now Sami topping Gunther this year. Obviously the behind the scenes stuff with Brock. I think we would have gotten Gunther Brock, and Gunther probably would have retained.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that that the original plan was probably for Gunther to still be IC champion, which is dope. But I do think it helped in a couple ways because it allowed Sami to get a bump. It took the title away from Gunther, which he acknowledged on Raw. It opens him up for stuff like King of the Ring and for him to elevate to that next level that we all know he should be at. But it also allowed for Gable to turn heel against someone that would get him instant heat. And the way that they did that heel turn of him taking out Sami was awesome.
Yeah, he's actually a talking point because he's starting to come to his own. But the whole squad is falling apart, right?
What do you mean? Oh, Alpha? Oh,
Isn't,
Imperium.
well, Chad Gable isn't even in Imperium, but isn't Imperium falling apart right now?
Yeah, but I also thought you were mentioning because the promo that they had with Chad and Alpha Academy like ripped into them on Raw, so they're definitely dissolving. But yeah, Imperium too. Yeah, you had Ludwig turning on Giovanni Vinci at the end of their loss against New Day.
Yeah, I saw this post on Twitter. It said, "I hope this new era pays off because you literally took the belt off the most dominant champions, Roman and Gunther."
Yeah, that is a big risk.
Yeah, and they shot both of them down, man, at the same time. Sami beating Gunther, I don't know, man. He got back-to-back WrestleManias where he dethroned two dominant champions,
Yeah. But coming off of a WrestleMania where he put Johnny Knoxville over. So, I mean, he did pay his dues a little bit. And I think the year before that
was a clown match.
I think the year before that he lost to KO because of Logan Paul. I think 2021. But no, like I feel like WWE conditioned us for a long time to like get used to like hot potatoing the titles. So then when we finally got these long reigns, even with Rhea, like Rhea had to vacate, she still would have been champion too. When we get these long reigns that, at first we're like, oh my God, how long is this going to last? But then like when we start to get little hints of them ending, we start to maybe, do like a double turn on those and start thinking, well, it'd kind of be cool if he still kept it. Like how long could they keep it on him? If it's interesting, why not just keep it on him?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It'd be lame for another champion to just hold the title for another reign. You know what I mean? It'd be cool for some diversity in champions to put a little respect on the ones that did have a long reign. So I see that. But you brought up Rhea Ripley. I was thinking maybe we should throw some women wrestlers into KVW and have at least one women's match. What do you think?
Yes, that was definitely something I wanted to bring up.
Oh shit!
Offline. I wanted to see how the flow is going to be of these shows. Going. I want to
Mhm.
get through WWE week. I think it's kind of what I had the idea this week being WWE. Seeing what the vibe is of the first week, and then throw something for the ladies.
Yeah. Be cool to see some classic ladies like was it Gorilla Monsoon? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Was it
never
Gorilla?
own.
Oh, that was sick. That was
No,
I don't think her name was Gorilla Monsoon, but the two old ladies from the Attitude Era.
fabulous Moolah and
There you go.
and Mae Young.
Yo, did it? Yeah, Mae Young. Mae Young's the one who had that storyline with Mark Henry, right?
Yeah, sexual chocolate Mark Henry, dude. She gave birth to a
Yo,
hand. Oh, that was
yo,
hilarious.
Mark Henry had an angle with China and Mae Young. I think
Yeah,
people
they're
forget.
really putting him through it, dude.
Yeah, dog. There were some promos where he couldn't even keep a straight face, bro. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's the good old VKM days of Vince McMahon in charge. See, the writing was on the wall, dude.
Seriously. But just to cap off Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at his career, and it was really highlighted when they beat the Usos and they were going through the history between KO and Sami. It is cool to see him, doing all the work it takes to be where he's at right now. It's not like he was blessed that opportunity. He definitely worked for it. And like you said, putting Johnny Knoxville over, I thought that was kind of funny, but at the same time, like as a professional wrestler who's been putting in the work, if someone comes up to you to be like, I need you to put Johnny Knoxville over, some people could take that as disrespect. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I'm gonna do that shit. I'm fucking Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying?
100%, dude. And that was the lead up to that match, like the discussion of that match happening, and how a lot of people were voicing their concerns that like that was beneath Sami to do. And then, after that match is done, a lot of people were calling it, match of the weekend, like because of how entertaining it was.
Yeah.
Like they pulled it off. Like that, every aspect of that match hit. The in-ring work, the the cameos from the Jackass dudes, commentary, like Pat McAfee being on
Stunts.
commentary with Michael Cole, like it was sick.
Yeah, they somehow fused Jackass and wrestling together perfectly. So
Yeah, seamlessly. But and then also too, like the way you were talking about Sammy, a lot of people forget that his first
that's gotta be
few
it.
was that One Wing Angel, too.
No. Yo, how many people have kicked out of that?
Not too many. You could probably count them on one hand for sure.
Kenny is one of them because I know Ospreay did it to Kenny.
Ospreay
but
did it to him. Yeah, dude,
It
those
doesn't
matches were
count.
so
It
dope.
doesn't count technically.
Those matches were so sick.
I do like that. I do like how, there are quote unquote stronger finishers than others. Obviously, the
Mhm.
super kick has gone down in strength.
100%. Everyone does it, dude.
Well, hold up. Is there a difference between the super kick and sweet chin music, though? You got to tune up the band. It makes it stronger, right?
It depends on who hits it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But the one wing angel, I feel like universally is respected. It's protected,
It's the same thing like the stunner. That's why like KO, doesn't always end matches because he's not Stone Cold. Like that's not his move.
Mm-hmm.
But before we like switch on Sammy, I did want to say though too, like people forget that when he first came up, a lot of the first big moments he was getting with pushes, he ended up getting hurt. So like he would get derailed on his momentum, and then he had to go away for a while. Like his debut was the U.S. Open Challenge with Cena in Montreal, and when he's coming out to the ring, he's hyping up the crowd and dislocates his own shoulder, like just by pumping up the crowd.
Damn.
Little stuff like that. When him and KO were getting into it on their first feud in NXT, they both got hurt in that build to their feud, and they had to sit out for a while. And yeah, he's finally now been consistently healthy, and ever since he got a hold of the Intercontinental title during the pandemic to now has been like an insane run if you look at it as a whole.
Yeah. Kenny and Gunther going at it right now, back and forth. I do think that Vince McMahon not being in charge kind of helped Sami Zayn. I think Vince McMahon would have fucked over Sami and not really give him that payback that Triple H is giving him right now. You know?
I definitely don't think Sammy would have beaten Gunther at Mania if Vince was still
Yeah,
calling
you know what I'm
shots.
saying?
Yeah, and
I
that's the
don't think.
confidence that Trips has in Gunther too. Like, I think I saw some stat that Gunther has been champion over 80 or 85% of his time since he's been signed with WWE, and that's the like NXT UK champion, NXT champion, Intercontinental champion. Like he always has a title on him.
V trigger. Is that it?
Got him.
How you gonna get pinned with a V trigger and not the One Wing Angel? I don't know about that match. But I'm not mad at it.
No,
I don't think it would have
I'm
played
not
out
mad
like
at
that
it.
in real life, though.
Yeah, I think Kenny actually puts Gunther over in real life.
Yeah, it definitely lead into like a 4 or 5 match series between the two, you know?
Do you think AEW has anybody that is on Gunther's level? Like I don't know if you consider Gunther to be like a final boss type, and that's not to like talk on the Rock, but like
Yeah.
do they have anybody on that level?
Man, you know what? I think what's his name? Who's the guy from House of Black? The big dude.
Oh, Brody.
Yeah, maybe Brody. Like I think
Brody
he's just
King.
a powerhouse. But
Yeah.
the thing about Gunther is he's a powerhouse like
He's everything.
technician, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's really anybody like Claudio, but that's a shitty comparison, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good option though.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I think Okada and Gunther would have a sick match.
You said what?
Okada.
Oh yeah, one of them. I feel like who's the other one? The powerhouse dude.
Hobbs?
No, not Hobbs. Well, that's his fucking name, but I'm talking about the Japanese powerhouse dude. Tasheski?
Takeshita?
Takeshita, yeah.
Takeshita? Yeah.
Maybe him, you know. But that's cool though. Like Gunther has made his own archetype as a wrestler. You know, it's rare for people to carve out their own stencil. Roman Reigns did it himself. It's funny that I don't know the final bossing with the Rock. I didn't like it at first, but I used to think first it was like a rebrand of Vince McMahon. You know, of being like I'm the boss, but I'm jumping here too. But now that we're talking about this, it feels like a little bit of a B grade version of the tribal chief. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting dynamic too when he started doing that because, you know, we've been accustomed to seeing the tribal chief, you know, and that was the dominant bloodline force. And the Rock started hitting with these entrances.
Yeah,
learn the old
he's
stuff again.
fucking trying to outdo him.
It's like, dude, this is so different. Like, this is exceeding my expectations. And you know, I was talking to Proper earlier too, and he was mentioning how like he didn't like it at first, but at the same time, like it was nice just to have the Rock back.
Yeah.
And consistently on our TVs. And yeah, that's true. So like it more so added to the gratification we received as fans when, you know, he tried new stuff and it was different and it worked. It worked so well.
What's cool about The Rock now, as much as people talk shit on him about like having his way, I think now more than ever, he has the most respect for the art of wrestling.
Yeah.
To the point where I know back then he was known for improving his lines and, you know, what went on in the ring, improvising it. But I think now more than ever, he's actively aware of how the crowd reacts and is making conscious decisions of how to sway the storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
he has
like,
more of a stake
let's
in
just
the
be
game,
honest.
too.
If he really wanted to rule with an iron fist, like Cody can kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like we have this WrestleMania plan, bro. This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah. we may never get the chance to do this again.
Yeah.
And then, The Rock was like, I don't know, I'm going to be part of the board. I'm going to be here for a while, so it's all
Mhm.
right to pivot. And it was the right call, man.
Yeah, and I mean, like, let's just be honest too, that as much as people say that speaks volumes to Rock's character, so does taking the plan B route. Like, this
Yeah.
buildup is a huge, deep storyline that leads back into family. You know what I mean? Like, some Vince McMahon could have easily been like, fuck what the crowd thinks. Like, I need to do the storyline. This storyline
Yeah.
means something to me personally. You know what I mean? But The
Yeah.
Rock was able to be like, nah, we got to do this for the crowd. So
Yeah.
I think it is good that he's in there right now.
There is, at least for me too, like what I had initially thought when it came back, I was like, that's going to be kind of a quick turnaround from his return into a Roman match. Like, what, 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
They could build this thing. This thing could have been, so much bigger. And so when the pivot did happen and we're starting to see a little bit of, new bloodline members showing up, it's like this story is just going to thicken. Like, it's only going to get
Mhm.
deeper, and that means their match is going to be more impactful, and fans aren't going to want to turn on it because they're going to want to see it.
Yeah.
More so than they would have before.
Yeah, I mean, dude, let's just be honest. Like, if we're already towards the later chapters of the bloodline, like, let's just be real. Solo hasn't been developed yet as a character. You know what I'm saying?
True.
He's barely unwrapping and unraveling right now as a character and playing his role in the bloodline for real, you know?
Yeah, agreed. And honestly, he's barely been over a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's time. Like, just naturally speaking, like, it's time for him to start, getting some depth in his character.
And you could say that the longer this Jimmy and Jay storyline goes on, the more rich it is too. It just ages like wine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And on top of that, the Rock Roman thing can also stretch out and age like wine too. And it'd be cool to build up Jacob Fatu when he comes in and all the other guys, you know what I mean? Don't just let him be like some random Samoans that came in and then once the Rock dips out and Roman dips out, it's just like, oh, what are we gonna do with these guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a smart way to build and to be able to, mitigate that problem, because there is going to be a time where they're gone. So like, if you develop these characters, fans get interested, it'll carry them through those, those dry periods where Rock and Roman are gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Well, we got Philip Jack Brooks from Chicago going against Kobe Daniel Lopez, aka Seth Rollins.
I can't wait for them to
Davenport, Iowa.
throw
Did you
hands
know
in
that
real
those
life.
were their real names?
Definitely not. But Jack being Punk's middle name is hilarious.
Oh, that is fucking funny and ironic. Maybe that's why he wanted to punch him so bad.
Possibly. He gives Jack a bad name, huh? The only Jack that's going to be an asshole around that company is going to be Phil. That's what he wanted.
I know they're building up Roman versus Seth, but please don't rob us of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, man. I need to see that in WrestleMania, bro.
We're definitely getting that next WrestleMania, if I had to guess.
Yeah, because it's The Rock and Roman versus WrestleMania. So the Seth Rollins Roman will be a slow build.
Yeah.
I think they might even be homies going into the next WrestleMania against The Rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Darby with a Hurricane Rana. That's how you do it, Danny.
It's so so effortless from Darby.
Yo, come on, man. A Hurricane Rana is nothing to Darby. This motherfucker does moonsaults off the ladder from the ring down to the tables on the floor, you know?
Yeah, real glass, right? Hey, but speaking of Jack, though, how'd you feel about Dynasty?
You know what? I haven't seen Dynasty. I'm actually gonna watch it after.
Okay.
Yeah. I did read some reviews. I did talk to
Yep.
Danny a little bit about it.
Okay.
And we're gonna get into brand tribalism too. But the WWE marks were watching Danielson versus Ospreay, bro. They were on the edge of their seats. You know?
That match was absurd. I think as a whole, I would say Dynasty was a top heavy pay-per-view. The last 4 matches of the card definitely exceeded the rest of what was shown on
Mm-hmm.
the card. And obviously with, Danielson Ospreay being the probably match of the year. I don't know what's going to be able to
Wow.
top it, dude. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't necessarily enjoy it as much as others did, but I definitely acknowledge that what they did on that show was spectacular. Um, so, it's I would say probably going to be match of the year. I don't know what's going to top that in any company. But Osprey just continues to show why he's that dude, and AEW really, 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 um, you know, uh, evolved with getting him onto that roster.
So one thing about Will Ospreay and some of the AEW wrestlers when they have big pay-per-views in their headlining cards,
Mm-hmm.
they wrestle like they have something to prove, you know?
Yep.
They're wrestling like their name's out there on the line, and if they fuck up or if they have any botch, even though there was a botch, it could be the end of their career and their reputation, you know what I mean? So I think that you can see that when Ospreay wrestles, you can see that when MJF wrestles, and you see that when Darby Allin wrestles,
Yeah, these guys definitely take the talk that they hear or read on the internet to heart.
Mhm.
I personally think too much, um,
Yeah.
but that's what they do, and it is what it is.
Mhm.
So uh, that being said, to your point about having something to prove, they're trying to prove people that say that they could never hack it in WWE wrong. Um, in my opinion, they're out to prove that they're the best wrestlers in the world and that AEW is the best wrestling company in the world. Um, how certain people go about doing that is definitely, I think, better than others. But at the end of the day, what I want to see in pro wrestling is entertainment. And whatever the buzzword, sports entertainment, any of that shit, that doesn't mean anything to me. It's all wrestling. So if I'm
Mhm.
entertained by wrestling, I'm gonna watch no matter what.
Yeah, so they're two different brands in the same time, like TNA and all the other brands that J2 is wrestling under, they have different flavors of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the difference between AEW and WWE, like I said, AEW wrestles like they have something to prove. So, they kind of put their heart and soul out there, then figure out the next match, opposed to WWE, who carefully craft and do the pre-work and just execute out there and either stick with the blueprint and make little small audibles, and then they go in the back and kind of go back to the drawing board to see what worked. And they're thinking more long term other than, fuck it, if I die out there, I die doing what I love type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, they're thinking like 2-3 manias ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't want to risk today or risk tomorrow for today. So
Yeah.
that's why we don't get those dream matches as often as AEW. And I think we talked
Yeah.
about this last show. They want to get every single cent they can out of a feud. If that means having a couple weeks where it feels stale, then so be it, because the payoff's going to be rich. And I think there's no better example of that than this past year of Roman beating Cody at 39 and then Cody getting his payback at 40.
On top of that, there's no better example than The Rock taking a step back and saying, all right, let's let this cook and we'll do the next
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. That's a current example too. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Crazy.
shoot, dude. Hey, we're getting freaking
Missed the
AJ
coffee
Styles
drop.
versus Cody Rhodes at Backlash. Like, that's
Who?
pretty nuts. We're
I don't
getting AJ against Cody.
I don't know those guys.
I don't know their government names, dude. I'm pretty
Those
sure
guys are
Cody Rhodes.
jobbers, bro.
Name is
Just
Cody.
kidding. So, okay, how about this, bro? Out of the 3 wrestlers in here right now, CM Punk, Ospreay, and Seth Rollins, if
Mhm.
you had to throw Cody Rhodes in the mix, but you had to eliminate one because you could only pick 3 wrestlers. Would you eliminate one to throw Cody Rhodes in, or Cody Rhodes would just have to be an alternate? Another
I'd probably
Hurricane
take
Rana by
out.
Darby Allin.
I
Effortless.
would, I would honestly take out Ospreay.
Okay.
Not because he's a bad wrestler, but I think he's in a way above that match. I don't think Cody and Punk are able to take the style of offense that Ospreay has. So I don't know if that match would be as good as if it would just be Seth, Cody, and Punk. Like Ospreay to me is not really a storyteller yet in the ring, especially not as much as like Punk and Cody and Seth are. But in terms of like moves and arsenal and athleticism, like he's definitely above probably all 4 of those guys, all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's like a lucha style wrestler, but almost like a European lucha style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like where
I
the
like that.
moves kind of lead up and it goes up, it builds up to a grand finale, which is the finishing move, you know,
Yeah. It
opposed
was
to the
definitely nice
storytelling.
to
I
see
agree.
him like truly feed off the crowd though. That was awesome.
Yeah.
He really utilized the crowd in that match against Bryan Danielson.
I have a prediction, man. I'm pretty sure CM Punk's going to get the pin in this fucking
In this match,
yeah, this fucking big name match.
I need a schoolboy roll up on Seth
Schoolboy with the
with the
feet on
tights.
the rope.
Yes, yeah, straight heel.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
GTS. And that's all she wrote. Yeah, you know what? With Will Ospreay, I know they're talking about him like he's the next best thing. He's the next best wrestler. I think he's the hottest thing since MJF right now, as far as promising future talents.
Yes.
But it's hard to compare him. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's the same way as comparing El Vikingo to like the greatest. You know, if you do that, then El Vikingo looks stupid. You know, but if you put El Vikingo in his own environment and you watch him do what he does naturally, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the problem between, or I think that's a problem overall in the tribalism thing. You know what I mean? And it's funny because sometimes, and KVW is really exposing this. What happens if CM Punk falls? You know, falls apart with WWE and goes back to AEW. Then what? You guys switch bandwagons over to AEW again? You know what I mean? I think you guys should see it more like how I mean. This is how I see sports. I like the individual players over the team. So you know, like I wasn't really a Laker fan. I was more of a Kobe Bryant fan. So when you appreciate the players individually, then I feel like you see that each talent brings something to the table, opposed to, oh, that's my team. You know what I mean? Overall. So when you see it that way, then you can kind of see how, hey, this piece will probably be so dope with this piece. You know what I mean? Well, I see how this piece works. Right now, this piece is working just because of the other pieces that are surrounding it. You know what I mean? You're not seeing brands and picking sides and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is definitely where pro wrestling fans are at, though. Like, they're fans of the teams instead of the players. Like, people want the players to do well. People want the players to succeed. But at the end of the day, they prefer their team to succeed, their team to win. And for me, I'm more like of even more macro level of like, I want the sport to do well. So
yeah.
If both companies are clicking, that's good for the sport. If all the companies are clicking, that's good for the sport. Like I saw something on X the other day where they were listing the important matches that happened this month. And like you get Ospreay Danielson, you get obviously main event of WrestleMania. TNA had a banger. There's like just great wrestling going on all different companies, and like that's so good for the sport because you can find it anywhere at this point, and it's all easily accessible. So I Like, that's the best part. Like, we don't have to tape trade like we did back in the day of getting like New Japan videos to watch, the stars over New Japan. Like, we can just go to YouTube or find, New Japan World and sign up for it for $10 and watch a lot of their matches, So it's in a really good spot, and I feel like people don't focus on it and don't realize it. Like, I know it's cheesy that The Rock kept saying pro wrestling's cool again, this, that, but it's like legit. Like,
Yeah, it really is.
it is.
Well, I don't know,
It's
man.
legit.
To me, it was cool during like Sami Zayn and the Bloodline era. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right now, it's kind of whack.
Yeah, he's definitely saying it at like not the like the early start of it. Like, obviously it's been cool for a while, Rock. Like, yeah, that's why we're watching. Like, thanks for coming back. But
I know we capped off
really
Sami
cool
Zayn, but that's another thing I forgot about him. Like, that's another payback for what you did for the company. Here, get injected into the bloodline.
Yeah, and it worked, dude. That worked so
Yeah, it
good.
did.
That bought that bloodline story probably another 6 months.
Yeah, it did. It
At the
totally
time.
did.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
It
Which is
allows for them
interesting
to
too, bro,
continue
because
depth
you can bring him back to stretch out the story even more.
Yeah, have we talked about that on the pod about War Games and how it could possibly set up with like a face turn for Roman?
Yeah, we did
Okay,
briefly, but
I really like that idea.
KVW, bro, don't give away too many spoilers because wrestling's real, quote unquote.
That's right, baby. Keep it
But we
kayfabe.
might have a War Games over here too, man.
Ooh, in the KVW.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to do. One thing I really like about wrestling are the factions. I'm a big fan of the
Yes.
Corporation, Ministry of Darkness, D-Generation X, the Bloodline, NWO. So the Heart Foundation too.
Yeah.
So if you're paying attention to the characters, there's a lot of interesting combinations we can play with over here.
There's definitely a lot
big
of
factions.
opportunity.
Big factions. So interestingly enough, I do think about the brand tribalism thing that the reason people go so hard to attack one another is because it's coming out of defending themselves. Because every time something happens that you can't really defend, like a botch that no one can ever control or an injury that happens, freak accident, they're getting attacked from the people from the other side. You know what I mean? And I think most of the attacks are not really from a place to hurt people or to call them out. I think they're engagement farming. You know what I mean? I think they're just trying to get comments. They're just trying to get likes. And it's not taken as that. It's taken as a hit. You know what I mean? And what they don't get about engagement farming is when you come back and you're emotional and you lay out comments, you're usually speaking for like 10 other people. So 10 other people are putting their comments too. You know what I mean? And so it worked. My engagement farming comment worked. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Sometimes it's like you're falling into the trap of the propaganda and marketing to get attention on wrestling. So in other words, you're being a mark. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good connection, dude. And honestly, like the easiest way to engage nowadays is negativity, unfortunately. And
yeah,
it really sucks. But like saying something controversial, and I blame this kind of on the on the first take style shows that we grew up on, where saying something outlandish, it had everybody talking about it. Like, oh, I can't believe Stephen A said this or Skip Bayless said that, and it's like they're just saying stuff just to say it. Like, they don't really mean these things, They're saying it because it gets a reaction, and good, bad, or indifferent. That's what the goal is. Like, you want viewers, you want people to be talking about you and your brand. So, it is unfortunately one of the downsides of social media nowadays, especially when it comes to wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, one thing you guys were talking about, you were upset about, I don't know if you were upset about Tony Storm, but you criticized Tony Storm.
I did.
And Danny is very critical about CM Punk. Okay.
Yes.
And I think that you guys are thinking that they're not being professional. They're letting things kind of get to them, or they're on CM Punk's case, kind of stirring the pot a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I see this like the rap game. Like Kendrick and Drake right now are beefing. I think a lot of people would be surprised, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that these fools are talking on the phone to each other, trying to figure out, hey, should I release now? You know what I mean? When should we do the tour? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, just like the engagement farming, if you're invested, then your attention is on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think as a wrestler, one of the most effective strategy is to just kayfabe all the way. You know what I'm saying? So if someone takes a shot at Triple H and Triple H can make a subtle hit back at them on a show, then, oh, I can't believe he said that. Clip. Engagement farming as well. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I said this about Tony. You know what I mean? So we're just all marks, man. I think that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I did want to bring up something that, speaking of engagement farming and saying things just kind of because it brings attention and quote unquote clout. Sister Abigail there.
Sister Abby. I miss Bray so much.
Oh, I was gonna say thank you, Undertaker.
Already seen this match. I was there, fucking 31. I was so pissed.
Did they fight? They fought
at 31. Yeah.
Oh,
it was the year after the streak was ended by Brock.
Dude, I don't know much about Bray Wyatt. I haven't really watched anything up until his return.
Okay.
When he did the Glow in the Dark match, which we may see in future episodes. You know what I'm saying?
Let's see that again.
So I need to do a deep dive on him too, man.
You would very much enjoy his early stuff, and I think some of the stuff he talks about would hit pretty hard with you. I think, like when he was doing his whole Wyatt family and was getting into like occult stuff.
Yeah,
I think you'd be
right
really
in my alley.
Yes, sir. Like his NXT stuff and early WWE stuff. Way to kick out.
Oh, Undertaker feels good to be back.
I thought he was about to go up top rope and do something crazy.
Moonsault.
Yeah, like Stratton style.
Damn. So I did want to bring something up because weirdly enough, WWE 2K24 is trending right now because of the creator fiasco going on. I don't know
What's
if
going on with that?
Paid attention to that. So one of the biggest creator, his name is What's the Status. We've given a shout out on the show previously early on, but for some reason his account just got banned after all his creation and his whole portfolio for WWE 2K24 was wiped out. And he's confused as to why. And like I said, he's one of the biggest names in the scene because not only can he get really accurate details into some of the new attires, but he can also get different taunts somehow programmed into the game and have the announcer say their names and, custom entrances. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows kind of the inner workings and the details to get the game tailored to how it should be to get the most accurate depiction of the game. But they took down his stuff apparently because of modding in the game. But on top of that, there's been reports of deep fake porn and children porn on the 2K community store that you could download, but that's not being taken down. So a lot of people right now are boycotting the game up until they do something about it.
I had no knowledge of that at all.
It's to the point where, like, some of the other content creators are getting almost gaslit to boycott,
It's 1, 2, 3.
just because what's the status is such a big name in the community.
Yeah.
But I take the stance of, you know, this happens, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that like the whole flow should stop, you know what I mean? I think you should raise awareness, yeah, but there's other content creators, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a big fiasco right now. What do you think? Since we're playing WWE 2K, I felt like it'd be appropriate to bring up.
Yeah, a WWE 2K related issue for sure. It makes sense.
Ooh.
Sister Abigail, pin him.
Ooh, I always love those fatigue finishes, man.
Redemption for WrestleMania 31. You know, content creators are a big part of our society nowadays, and obviously there's, you know, the legitimate gripes that some companies have with, like, you know, the people using their own creations in a way that they didn't intend it to, and I get that aspect, but also, you know, if someone's able to replicate something, or, you know, like mod a system to make the product more enjoyable, I feel like in some way that kind of drives the consumer to want to buy the game so they can, you know, partake and experience it as well. Like, it's almost like free advertising in a way for, you know, for example, for WWE 2K. Like, if this content creator was putting out good stuff, like, why wouldn't you want to buy the game and then, like, be able to have anybody you want in the game? I mean, unless there's some legalities in using name and image and likeness in the wrong way. I mean, I really don't see the big deal with it. Now, having the, you know, the 2K store, you know, have child pornography and that of the like in there, that, and not getting taken down, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, when you claim online bullying for something that's actually online bullying and you don't get a response, and they, you know, investigate it and leads nowhere. But on that same platform, like a comment about an alternative therapy to heal something, I'll speak really broadly and generic, could get taken down. You know what I'm saying?
Forget it's a comedy pod, dude. It made me laugh.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys did read the warning prior to the show. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I do agree with you. It is free promo. It will make people want to buy the product more. So I think that they should just fucking offer him a job. Like I said previously.
That's where I was going to go with it. Yep. Yeah. Employ that man.
But they did bring up that it might go against the term of service and, you know, the licensing behind certain names and the likeness of people. So I think that's a dispute, but
yeah, that would make
sense. They do
sense.
make the game better. I'll tell you that. Most of the creators, or most of the wrestlers that you're seeing on here, the attires are from these creators. So makes them enjoyable.
Shout out to the creators.
Before we sign out, I guess I'll ask this. Do you think overall we should all just boycott it? You know what I'm saying? Do you think it's effective to boycott? Do you think boycotting is an effective maneuver or strategy?
So, I think it can be. You know, we were talking about the pivot for WrestleMania. It wasn't necessarily a boycott. It was more of just online outrage that got loud enough to, you know, influence decision making. There's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, right now, too, outside of the Cave and KVW, with protests and, you know, for foreign issues. I can't say whether or not it's 100% for sure, you know, effective or not until the results come out. Like, that's one of those things with, like, protesting and boycotting, that, like, you're not going to know if it really worked until the aftermath of that boycott or protest, depending on what the results are. So Um, I guess it depends on the situation, honestly. Like, they were all the stuff we learned in school, right? With, you know, um, segregation and racial issues, you know, back in the day in our country. And a lot of those proved to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
But because those happened, like it allowed for people to know that game plan and know what's coming. So, oh, these protesters been there, done that before. It's not going to work now because we already saw, you know, like we know how to handle it now because we've seen it before. So it just depends, dude.
Yeah.
I would honestly try to see what the the person that's getting um I guess banned or whatever, like if whatever the movement, whoever the movement's for, like see what they feel like would be a good thing to do. Because what if they just want to leave it alone and just wipe their hands of it and not proceed
Great,
with it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
great point. Put up that hashtag free status. So my thing about this is, I think you're right. Boycotting can be an effective tool to get your point across, or an effective method to get your point across or your message heard. But I don't think people should be forced to boycott. You know what I mean?
true. You should
Because
only
that's what I'm saying.
embark in this if you really believe in it and support the cause. Don't just do it because you think that someone might think it's right, and so you want
Yeah,
to be part of that. Because then you're not really supporting it.
right. So the thing is, bro, is because it's trending right now, right? Weirdly enough, like the WWE 2K24 community is trending. A lot of people are getting engagement now for speaking up about free status. So they're feeling empowered. They're finally getting heard. They're finally getting seen. So they're obviously riding with the movement 100% to the point where they're kind of like gaslighting other people who aren't. You know what I mean? It goes back to
Yeah,
the engagement farming, but instead of using it as a marketing promo, you're kind of falling in love with the clout. You know what I mean? Turning into someone else in order to, or writing someone else's kind of propaganda and running people
yeah.
to the thing.
You're using someone else's you know negative experience and sadness or whatever emotion you want to say that's negative, and you're turning it into your own personal gain to
Mm-hmm.
make yourself feel like that's not an authentic movement support, in my opinion. It's like when we when all the Black Lives Matter stuff was going on, and you saw people just put their screens black, but did they actually really mean it? Like, um
Yeah.
that's where and then it's like, what then if you try to question it, you kind of feel like an asshole. Like if you try to question why someone put their screen, like their profile picture, all black, like
Yeah.
what if they genuinely support it and you just don't know? So it's a very slippery slope for sure.
Mm-hmm.
um but engagement farming and like clicks dominates nowadays, dude, all over. Like the news that you see, I would say 80% of the news that we see is negative, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just whether it's fear mongering or um trying to get us to feel a certain way, like so that way we can watch again tomorrow and see if it's cleared up. Like that's part of it too. Like you want them to come back and you get viewers. So um, it's a very very intricate web that has been woven or weaved, whatever you want to say,
Yeah.
in our society today, and it's unfortunate.
If you like talk like this, guys, you guys should check out the K
I know
podcast.
we're getting off of
This is
KVW.
literally how it transitions, and we'll talk
This is
about
what
God in the
happens.
afterlife.
Yeah, like pretty soon we'll be talking about homunculuses and wrestling. That's not what this
Yo,
is
there
for.
might be a homunculus wrestler in the first pay-per-view. Who
Oh my
knows, ladies
God.
and gentlemen?
We're gonna
But
hang him from a shark cage.
let me tell you this. I think that engagement farming, yeah, is a tool that obviously a marketing team uses to generate engagement, obviously, and numbers. And interestingly enough, I won't go too deep into this. Opposites attract, right? And we're
Yep.
living in a world where if you're being positive, it's corny. You're too corny. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So what's the opposite of being positive? Positive, negative.
Negative.
Right? So if you put out positive content, you better expect negative comments or negative feedback. For some reason, that's what people always say when you're a content creator. You know, if you're doing something positive, everyone's like, "Hey, be ready for negative feedback because it will come," and you got to kind of just ignore that.
100%, dude. And it, I hate that so much. But at the end of the day, how I operate is if I'm true to myself and I feel like my opinions or my feelings are genuine and the intent is pure, I don't care what anybody says. But obviously people don't share that same view, so they have to respond to that negativity, which is kind of what we were talking about in our chat today with tribalism and all that.
Where I was going with this is interesting too. I don't know if it's a universal law, but what's the opposite of negative? Positive, right?
Positive.
So if you put out a negative comment or negative content, you might get input from people. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily saying positive feedback, but you're going to get positive engagement. I'm talking just like numbers, like more engagement, not necessarily negative or positive. I'm just speaking in quantity.
Yeah,
Am I onto something?
Negative, and my positivity that I receive back from it is how many views I get.
Like you put positive out, then you expect to get some stuff subtracted from you type shit. But if you put some negative stuff out, then expect some additional engagement. I don't know. I'm onto something.
That's definitely got me thinking, dude.
Universal law, baby. But just to cap off this episode so we don't, get lost in the cave.
It's easy.
The free status thing. Why I'm bringing this up? Because we're doing a WWE 2K show, and where do we stand with the free status thing? Because we're using some of his stuff too on the show. So I think that you're right, Zach. Sometimes you got to see what the person thinks about it and what they would want too. And Status has been pretty cool about this. He's very appreciative of the support. There are other big content creators that are, retiring from the game and supporting. And shout out to them. That's really cool to see people supporting each other in the community. But he's just kind of sitting back to see how this plays out. I'm pretty sure the protests and it's trending right now. It's ringing bells, I think. And there's creative ways to also raise awareness. Like right now, we're using this content. We're still playing. We're not boycotting the game and we're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So there's ways to raise awareness besides boycotting. Like that's not the only fucking way to the top of the mountain. So with that said, we're going to keep doing our thing. And if you ain't down with that, then I have 2 words for you. Follow us at the cave, K4V3. Join our Discord. You could find that on our Patreon if you didn't catch the live. That's cave.com on our website, k4v3.com. Zach, peace out. That was fun. On to the next one. We'll see you guys later.
Always a pleasure, dog.
Peace.
KVW.